All right, we'll go back to our story of COP28 summit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Dubai to attend the climate summit, and DT India's Tapas Bhattacharya is joining us live from Dubai. Tapas, very good morning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Dubai last night. Tell us his schedule today and how important is the visit of PM Modi. Various leaders have gathered there from developed and developing countries too.
Yes, right, Abhishek. It's definitely a watershed moment in human history. If we are to keep the 1.5 degrees Celsius, deadline for the climate change, it is imperative that COP28 becomes the major landmark in that arena. In fact, the developed countries and the developing countries are both converging to make sure that they take a take place in this particular COP28 and understand where they lack and where they need to go beyond what is currently required. Remember, if we go by currently the scenario of keeping with the Paris Agreement of 1.5 degrees Celsius of the emission norm, right now, as per data, 250 gigaton of carbon dioxide is left, to cross the threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius. And as per that data, of every year, more than 50 gigawatts of CO2 emission take place. So we possibly have 5 to 7 years, to get ourselves in that mode, in the action mode, to make it work. And that's one of the reasons why this particular COP28 becomes even more important. And to give you a perspective of what we can expect today from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's bilaterals and his engagement, I have my colleague Shishir with me. Shishir, Prime Minister will be on a very hectic tour today, back to bilateral and events lined up. What do you have to say on that? What are the things that we will be looking forward to?
Well, absolutely. Today's event and today's schedule is quite packed for the Prime Minister here, because as soon as Prime Minister reach at the COP28 venue here, the first thing that he'll be participating in the opening ceremony here. Apart from that, immediately after that, there'll be high-level delegates, leaders will also be meeting there. Immediately, some of the bilaterals meetings have also been lined up here. But what is most important from India's perspective, Tapas, is 3 important side events, out of which 2 important side events are actually connected to the climate financing. So the first that he will be attending is, of course, the leadership, the event on the credit program, that the country has started earlier. Green credit program, along with the UAE, obviously, and the UAE is co-chair and co-host of in this particular program. So that's the first event that Prime Minister side event will be attending here. The second is, of course, the Lead IT. You must be knowing that Lead IT initiative that India and Sweden started in 2019. Now this is Lead IT 2.0. Going forward, probably both the countries will see further collaboration, that how they can go ahead and obviously include the private sector also in it. So the Lead IT is the second important side event. And the third one is, of course, the climate financing. That is most important, factor that probably all the eyes set on, because that's where exactly the buck stops here, that who will pay for it and how much will pay for it. So that's the 3 important side events. And we should not forget the bilaterals in between as well. Absolutely. Because when we go for the side events, the most important, as we have to garner the support from the other countries as well. And that's the reason this bilateral, probably we may say that quite important from India's perspective, when India put forward its best foot in the COP28.
Yes, Abhishek, as Shishir mentioned, it is imperative that India takes a lead role in that discussion in this particular COP28, because remember, we are currently the voice of the global south. Everybody in African countries are looking up to India, and you remember, more than 700 million people currently still are without an access to electricity in Africa, and it is imperative that their voice must be heard in this COP28, and who better than India to provide that here in this particular COP28.
Tapas, one more question before we leave both of you. I mean, whoever wants to take this question. India has walked the talk when it comes to climate change. The combating climate change has been the top priority and top focus for India, and we saw that in G20 also. But all eyes will be on the outcomes of COP28 and India's role too, which is very important.
Right, it is imperative that India takes a lead role, as I mentioned, and it is early because it's the second day of the COP28 to understand what kind of outcome we are expecting. This particular COP28 is a stock-taking COP28 where all the nations will come and give their NDC targets, that is the nationally determined contribution targets that they have agreed on in the Paris Agreement, and what they have done to achieve that. Let me just get a quick response from Shishir. Shishir, NDC targets, everybody has given, all the countries. Almost, most of the countries falling short of their meeting the targets. India still on track. In fact, have actually done much more, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. But before that, let me remind you that in last year also we have submitted a report which shows that how we have actually inching towards closing our targets here. As far as the carbon emission is concerned, as far as the green energy usage is concerned, so whatever the targets India had set earlier, almost we are actually completing almost 20 to 30% we have completed last year. This time around, most probably 40 to 45%, yes, or beyond that we are going. So that's an important target, and that's the reason India is also saying to other developed countries as well that let's do walk the talk, because especially most of the time the underdeveloped countries, we can say, or developing countries, we can say, are actually working on it, and that's the reason the global south is also looking at the India when it comes to completing the target. At the same time, most of the countries saying that when we complete target, we should get the incentives, and that's what India is coming forward, that to be the voice on this international platform.
In fact, Abhishek, India has updated its NDC targets twice. In fact, they're saying that we actually gone beyond what we have said,
right,
and we want to do much more than what is there. So, who's going to walk the talk? India is doing that, and it's calling all the nations in the world to unite in this COP28. Abhishek.